Good evening. Good to have you with us in this edition of the Urban Debate. The Supreme Court today expressed concern over the slow pace of probe in cases involving sitting or former parliamentarians, lawmakers. During the hearing of a petition related to expediting court trials against MPs and MLAs, the Supreme Court said that sorry to say that ED and CBI report is inconclusive and there is no reason for not filing charge sheets for 10 to 15 years. Supreme Court has been given a report by an amicus curiae, and after that the Supreme Court was commenting on what the status is. And this is an important comment made. There is no reason for not filing charge sheet for 10 years, 15 years. They did also, however, say that they don't want to demoralize the agency, CBI, ED, or whichever probe agency is there. They understand that the probe agencies are also overburdened like judges. So we are exercising restraint, but the report speaks volumes. The Supreme Court essentially asking why it takes years and years for investigation to be done, charge sheet to be filed. And there the onus is on the probe agencies. The court also cognizant of the fact that afterwards, after the charge sheet is also filed, charges are framed. After that, the trials could then take years together in our country. And there comes a big burden on the judiciary. Why are we talking about it? Because the plea is about fast-tracking cases against parliamentarians, against lawmakers of our country. There is another aspect that is extremely important, and that is of individual states and police departments withdrawing cases when parties come to power. That too the court has been repeatedly dealing with and said while there is no blanket ban on withdrawing cases, you must explain to the High Court why you are doing so. Case in point is the recent withdrawal of Muzaffarnagar riot cases. A large set of those cases withdrawn where explanation was sought, and it was revealed that up until now there was no clear reason why these cases had been withdrawn. Let me take you through some more details. The amicus curiae report actually points out at how there are 51 MPs since 2012, so former MPs and sitting MPs who face money laundering charges, 71 MLAs and MLCs as well, and that the delay in the probe is evident in many of these cases. Similarly, there are 121 cases pending for trial in special CBI courts. Some of these cases are serious charges. Over 58 pending cases are actually charges that could bring in punishment up to life imprisonment. And in a third of these, the charges haven't even been framed yet. So tonight, viewers, we want to talk about this big issue. Cases that are filed against netas which go nowhere. Cases which are filed where charge sheets take years. Charge sheets are filed, charges are framed, but the trials just go on forever for our politicians. And then sometimes for no reason given clearly, cases are withdrawn. Why am I highlighting these issues? Because all of these issues at some point also culminate into politics, into political vendetta. It could be vendetta for when the cases are filed with no actual truth there or case there. It could be vendetta that the case does have merits but is actually only filed for political motives, and hence the case only gets revived when there is some political advantage coming out of it. Whether it's the ED or the CBI, we've seen enough instances, and for the rest of the time, those cases are forgotten. It could also be for political motives that cases are filed against rivals and withdrawn when those very same rivals come to power. And because of political vendetta and this politics, we have a situation where your probe agencies are overburdened, where the entire judiciary is overburdened. What is the solution? That's what we have to find. That's what we hope the court finds at some point. Let's say good evening to the panelists who are joining us on this conversation. Sudesh Verma, spokesman for the BJP, ML Sharma, former CBI Special Director, Sulaiman Mohammad Khan of the Congress Party, Neejat Chaudhary, senior journalist, Ram Pratap Singh of the Samajwadi, and Mahesh Tapase of the NCP. First up, actually, let me go across to Mr. ML Sharma. Mr. Sharma, do you agree that, a lot of these cases involving sitting MPs continue even after their term is over? Even they may have lost one term, come back, and the cases keep continuing because they are largely political in nature.
There are two aspects to the whole problem. One is investigation, second is trial. In fact, output of investigation is the input for trial. So to give perspective to the whole matter, I would like to very briefly refer to the statistics which has been generated by the National Judicial Data Grid. So this says that in April 2021, overall 3.8 crore cases were pending in the trial courts, and as far as MPs and MLAs are concerned, 2,556 cases were pending trial. Now, out of these cases, 174 cases involved life imprisonment and death penalty. Another important data is that out of these cases pending trial against the legislators, 352 cases, in 352 cases, trials were stayed by the Supreme Court and the High Courts. So, problem is really very serious. Now, there are, to state a problem is easy, but to give a solution is a little difficult. I'm aware that Supreme Court recently has issued two directions that prosecution against legislators is not to be withdrawn without the prior permission of the High Courts concerned. It will help a bit. Second direction that the Supreme Court has issued is that the trial judges who are trying these cases against the legislators, they are not to be transferred, not prematurely, but not to be transferred without the prior permission of the Supreme Court. Now, these two steps will help, but they are not going to be adequate steps. After having spent lifetime investigations and prosecutions, I am of the view that if the things are to be improved, they are not to be improved only in regard to trials of legislators. It's a subset of the overall trial scenario. As I mentioned earlier, 3.5 crore cases are pending trial in the courts. There are various reasons. One of the important reasons is that the number of trial courts is very small. There are only about 18,000 judges and magistrates in the country. Forget about the vacancies. Assuming that all people are in position, even then, considering the huge backlog, this number is grossly inadequate. It will take us more than 200 years to knock off this trial. So the solution is that in a phased manner, we have to constitute more courts. First, a higher judicial body has to determine how many cases a session court can try in a year and how many cases a magistrate can try. Once this figure is arrived at, then the number of judges and magistrates required to trial these cases can be estimated. My rough estimate is that we need to have about 80,000 session judges and magistrates in the country to dispose of the whole problem. Now, this is about the overall pendency. Coming to the cases against legislators, this is much more complex. And it is because these people are very influential people. So therefore, some additional steps have to be taken. My view is that trial against the legislators is not possible to conclude within the states in which the crimes have occurred. All trials need to be transferred to other states and by judges of those states where the trials are transferred. हिंदी में कहावत है, अपने घर में बिल्ली भी शेर होती है. तो वहां ये ट्रायल संभव नहीं हो सकता है. आप बिहार के केस को बिहार में ट्राई करो, झारखंड के केस को झारखंड में ट्राई करो, यूपी के केस को यूपी में ट्रायल करो. आपने दुबे का केस पढ़ा हुआ है, you know what happened. So it's not possible. Therefore, they are influential people. They browbeat the witnesses. Judges also browbeaten. Now even killings of judges have started taking place. Therefore, they should be tried to transferred to the other states.
Okay.
Where now, one example before us is the trial of the UP case by a well-known judge, Dharmender Kumar. Within, I think, month and a half, he finished all the trial and matter. So apart from putting adequate number of judges to try legislators in position, trials need to be transferred to other states.
Okay, so
Another
two
step that I
important
want to
points,
suggest
Mr.
is-
Sharma. I will take these 2 points and go across your other panelists and come back to you. 2 points that you said. One, bring in more of the judicial staff, starting with the judges. I mean, we keep talking about, fast-track courts, but if you don't have judges, if you don't even have prosecutors, then the judges will turn up and there won't be a prosecutor. They'll keep asking for another date, and that's the reason for delay. Move the trials out of the state from where the sitting MP is or MLA is. 2 suggestions that have come through. But that's as far as the delay in the judicial side is concerned. What about the investigation side, Sudesh Sharma? As of now, of the pending cases, just for example, if we take the cases against current and former MPs under ED, 28 cases are pending probe. In 10 cases, charges haven't been framed. There are another 4 cases pending trial. Yes, in 3 instances outside of these, the cases have been stayed by various courts. But the largest chunk here is pending probe cases. And that, Sudesh Sharma, is a problem because more often than not, the probe only gets reignited when there is an election around.
I totally agree that trials are getting delayed.
Mr. Sharma, let me take that question across to Sudesh Sharma of the BJP.
Tanvi, you see, we must appreciate that if judges have made such a comment, such an observation, it must be taken seriously. But they also have the mechanism to set things right. You see, they themselves have said that they understand the pressure under which these agencies must be working. So they cannot pressure beyond a point. But yes, there is a need to get expeditious trial, isn't it? And that would come in the realm of judiciary. You see, of course, no prosecuting agency can be given a leeway, a long rope. And if there is a genuine delay, that can be condoned. But if there is a delay due to some other reasons, then judiciary has all the powers to get the facts to themselves, isn't it? Now, are we just talking about highly sensitive political cases or against politicians, or are we talking cases in general? Because you see, for me, the biggest issue is the pendency of the cases, the prison and trial cases. People are languishing in jail without trial for petty crimes. Do you know this? And it's such a heinous thing. Justice delayed is justice denied, isn't it? People are not getting justice. You see, if we create a separate cell or a separate commission to deal with just politicians, then are you not treating politicians as a separate class? Then where is the equality before law? If everybody is equal before the law, why should a special treatment be given to politicians? Tell me that. If that becomes the norm, maybe because they are the policy makers and there is a genuine concern that there should be moral upholders of society, and they should. But the way things happen, as for example, in Mumbai, the way cases lost, 4 FIRs lost against Cabinet Minister Narayan Rane. If such a political vendetta becomes the norm, then cases becomes the norm, isn't it? So how do you deal with such a situation? Judiciary also has to play a role.
So
and
I
intervene
agree
in the
with
process.
you. Why should there be fast tracking or special treatment for cases of MPs or MLAs? And I would be fine with that. But it is the politicians and it is the states who turn around and start withdrawing the cases then in the name of political vendetta. I would rather see a proper investigation, trial, explanation to a court for a court to decide whether there is any merit to this case or not, rather than governments filing cases left, right and center against their rivals and then withdrawing them when the other side comes to power.
Tanvi, what you are saying is cases filed due to political vendetta.
Yes.
If the agencies are misused, then the judiciary should play its role.
Cases filed due to political vendetta, Mr. Sudesh Verma. Cases held back, cases put in cold storage also because of politics.
No, Tanvi, what I'm saying is, please don't blame the government for that. If they're doing a sordid investigation, please hold them up. Please hold them to task. What is the big deal about it?
But
if they're not doing the job well,
Yes, so-
you see, I cannot hold the brief for the CBI or central agencies. They should do their job very professionally. And
Okay.
the judiciary, for everyone, judiciary has to be fair.
Okay, Neerja Chaudhary, who do we hold accountable if there is a problem with ED and CBI? If they are understaffed, or if they don't do a good job, they do a shoddy investigation, or they remember and forget cases only basis political timings, should we not then question the government?
Look, this problem has gone on for decades. I'll tell you, I'll start with this, Tanvi. I cut my journalistic teeth doing a series of articles on under trials in the prisons of India. And I found people had been held there for 30 years, 31 years, 37 years without charges being framed. And when through PIL's intervention took place and the court released them, they sat outside the door of the prison because they had nowhere to go. That was home to them. So that was the state of the justice that was available. 4 decades down the line, I see no change at all. Now, the issue you're raising today, of course, there's a larger issue, but there is this issue of the subset of political cases. And one of the things that we are seeing of late is how agencies of the government, ED, CBI, are being used against political opponents. Now, that is the worrying phenomenon. And unless you deal with that intention, the motivation for doing this, I really welcome what the Supreme Court has said, because you do need to bring this to light once more. Again and again, you need to bring this to light. And people are increasingly looking to the Supreme Court for fair play, for justice. And I think, the monitoring committee that the Supreme Court has asked for to oversee these cases so that they can be expedited, is one part of the solution. But, the political class thinks of hundreds of ways. The jugaad mind of the Indians is so good at it, of how you beat what the system that you have put into place. It's a very unfortunate reality. And yet we need that oversight functioning by the courts of what is going wrong. And what it actually means is political harassment. What you're saying, 58 cases, out of 121, where life imprisonment will be given. It's a whole, for 21 years, if charges have not been framed, it's one whole generation gone in the life of that person. So I think we have to look at this. We look at it, Tanvi, we look at it again and again and again. We come out with solutions, and very good ideas have been given just now that, let the cases be transferred to another state for justice. I would say a timeline also for deciding cases. Is it 6 months, 9 months? And I would say particularly, it should be applicable to everyone, but particularly to political cases, because so much is happening because of political vendetta today.
Yes. So, what we can fix, Mahesh Tapase, is the strength is the skill of the investigators, whether it's CBI or ED. If they have too many cases, too few people, if they're not properly trained, we can do that. What we can fix is bringing in more prosecutors, bringing in more judges, setting up fast-track courts. But what we cannot fix, unless the political parties do, is the endless number of political vendetta cases or cases that are also suppressed, brushed aside because of politics. How do we fix that? Mahesh, I think you're on mute.
Sorry. Good evening, Tanvi, all viewers. And I think it's a very, very interesting topic which has come up for debate. I thank the Supreme Court for the new judgments they have given and the insight that Mr. Sharma has shared with all of us. In fact, the political class and the civil society and the bureaucracy must come together and frame some guidelines. Now, I'll be only focused to cases which have a baggage of political vendetta. I mean, how much does it take to make an allegation? This allegation, if it's out of a political, does not have any substance. It does not have any proof. I have to just say, I feel that so and so misconduct has happened, act of omission and commission has happened. I pass on my allegation to the investigative agency. It is their task to frame the charges, and the court and the trial court to ascertain whether the charges framed are right or wrong, and subsequently pass the judgment on the allegations, which may be politically motivated or which may not be politically motivated. So, if the Judicial Commission or the lawmakers come out with some kind of, now we are debating, I do not know whether this is a very systematic way of debating, but I am just expressing my opinion as a member of the civil society, as a member of the public, whether anybody making an allegation, can he be compelled to give the proof of omission and commission? If it's against a political party, if it's against a political opponent, can it be made a compulsion against a person making the accusation to give the facts, to give the proofs of any kind of omission or commission which he thinks or he perceives that may have happened? Whether that will ease out or shorten the time for trial and investigation. So this is one aspect that can also be looked at in conjunction with what Mr. Sharma, our Special Director of CBI, has just mentioned, by appointing or taking the cases for hearing out of state. But that also involves too much of a logistics, but nevertheless, it can be looked into. But the crux may lie that if I am lying out and making an accusation, I know as a person, I know that it's a lie. Whether there can be there is a section which defines that if the allegations made are wrong, then the person making an allegation can also be prosecuted. But how many times have we seen this kind of a prosecution against the person making the accusation has been had? People, the politician or whoever, he's just happy that it was all, and maybe he'll put a defamation case and a news will come, somebody has been defamed, put up a defamation case from 1 crore to 10 crore, whatever, and then that's the end of it. So politicians themselves also do not pursue these kinds of cases. I have seen, this is out of experience. I'm sure the investigative people from the investigative agency, and Nirja ji, of course, she is a great journalist, and the kind of insight that she's shared with us, people standing in the prison and without trial for 20, 30 years. This needs to be addressed.
Mahesh, but where is it stemming from? And it is stemming from the political parties. It's the political parties who file cases left, right and center against their rivals and then forget about it. In fact, here is something that our viewers would also be interested to know. The last time your hearing happened in this case, the court was so upset, the Supreme Court actually pulled up the central government because CBI, ED and NIA were delaying filing the status report. Mr. Sulaiman Mohammad Khan, the probe agencies were asked to give a status on the cases against MPs and MLAs. Even to file the status report, there was a delay. What can be a bigger proof of just how broken the system is from the agencies right up to the trial stage?
You're very right, Tanvi. This is a very unfortunate situation, and not only fair investigation, but speedy trial is also the part of fundamental rights as enshrined under the Constitution. We have seen I've also heard Mr. ML Sharma, another panelist, my friend from the BJP, was saying that there should be no special treatment for MPs and MLAs and there should be no special courts. I think Mr. Sudesh Verma should know that on the direction of the Supreme Court, and this direction was passed in a PIL, special MP MLA courts have been constituted in different states in each districts. And the reason for constitution of special fast track courts for trial and prosecution of MPs, former MPs and present MPs and MLAs the reason was that we have seen, the history tells us that we have seen that these cases were pending for 20 years, 15 years, and there was no outcome. Therefore, these special courts were formed because it is considered, and we have seen that these are influential people, and therefore their trial must be expedited. And the truth must come out. Therefore, these courts have been constituted because they are special people. They think they are special. Therefore, special courts have been formed to do their trial specially. It's nothing bad. It's not against the common man, sir. It is in the public interest. It's not against the public interest. It is in public interest that ministers, MPs and MLAs must have a speedy trial in a year or so. And if they are innocent, they'll be acquitted. And if they are guilty, they will be convicted. So what is the problem? Second, about the withdrawal of the cases. I'm really surprised. There is a provision in Criminal Procedure Code, Section 321 of CRPC, where an application can be put by the prosecution for withdrawal of the cases against public servants or MPs or MLAs or anyone in the public interest. So what we are seeing in UP, because this happened in UP recently, yesterday or today, and in past also a year or so ago, this Adityanath government has done it. They have withdrawn some 77 cases of Muzaffarnagar, right, accused 77 cases of cases against himself. The chief minister is requesting for a withdrawal of case against him. What will happen? There are cases, serious cases where there is a death penalty or a life imprisonment. Now, what is this? A political person coming to power, he has committed some crime. For say tomorrow somebody is accused of a murder, becomes a minister or chief minister. Then when he comes to power, he'll file an application through prosecution in the 321 CRPC and say withdraw these cases. The law minister, the DM will put a report, the prosecution will put a report, favorable report, and the law department will put a favorable report. Cases are withdrawn, and this has happened in the past. I will not name a case of 1990s. This is again happening in this BJP government for past 4 years. And very recently, yesterday, 77 cases of serious, heinous Muzaffarnagar riots.
Yeah, so 77 cases withdrawn by the state ahead of elections. In fact, that was one of the things that was first done by this current government when they came to power. Yes, you're not finished, Suleiman, is it? I need to quickly go across to... Okay, go ahead.
I'll just... Investigating agencies, if I'm talking about Sudesh Verma, and otherwise the law and order is a state issue. But if there are central agencies involved, CBI, ED, NIA, it is the responsibility of the central government to tell them to conduct the investigation in the, in the time-bound manner. There is a time. 60 days, 90 days. Special cases 180 days. So it has to be done in a way. So my understanding of law, trial, investigation, and even whatever trial has to be happen, it has to be done in a speedy manner and in a fair manner. Then only the aim can be achieved for what these courts have been constituted.
Point taken. In fact, point taken, in the report that's also been submitted so far, some of the state details are missing. We have details of states like Maharashtra where there is a large number of such pending cases, but we don't even know what the reality is of states like Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. That's not been included yet. But, suffice to say, from the recent turn of events, we do know there are a large number of such pending cases there. Ram Pratap Singh, whose responsibility is it to fix this broken system, right from investigation to the final judgment?
Thank you, Tanvi. There are three components to this matrix that we are discussing here today. One is the judiciary, which everybody seems to be blaming for the delay in the processes. Then there is the political class, and then there are the investigating agencies. I feel the investigating agencies of late, and also several times in the past, have been facing a crisis of credibility where they are used by the political class of the day to sort out political vendetta. So a solution here, I mean, on the judiciary side, I don't want to say anything, but on the agency side, I think constitutionally we should try and make our investigating agencies more independent. Appointments to these investigating agencies should be non-political. And if we are able to fix that problem, I think this unethical political class using these investigating agencies to fix their opposition will possibly reduce a little. This has been done by the Congress in the past. This is being done by the BJP in the present. So I think across the political system, parties tend to misuse these investigating agencies, and we need to address this basic problem.
Okay, Sudesh Verma wants to come in.
Yeah, I wanted to come after Suleiman Saab because, it was amusing to listen to what he was saying. What actually Tanvi, he argued, or those of you who are arguing a special favor to politicians, is actually trying to create a new feudal class. So listen, Mr. Suleiman, please listen. I was amused, but I did not interfere. Come on, let me complete it. No.
Yeah, Suleiman Khan, let Sudesh Verma respond to you. I'll give you time to make your counter.
We are operating in public domain, Tanvi. Tomorrow, bureaucrats will say that we are acting, along with politicians, their decisions. Why should we suffer? I know so many bureaucrats, they are languishing because their cases have not been tried, isn't it? Then doctors will say we are doing public service. So are you going to create such feudal classes? They should get preferential treatment over those innocent people about whom Nirjaji was saying. Prisoner under trial. They have not committed any crime, petty crimes, petty crimes, and they are in jail. They're not getting legal aid. And nobody is there to rescue them. Don't they deserve justice, Mr. Suleiman? I'm not against, of course, political class, if they do commit any crime, they should be punished. But why should a special treatment? That is what I'm saying. And when you are talking about prosecuting agency, I'm sorry. I'm saying with a straight face that you were the government that interfered in the functioning of these agencies, not us. They are witnessing a breeze of liberalism. Have you forgotten, Tanvi, have you forgotten that Supreme Court monitored investigation into mining scam? Mr. Ashwini Kumar was the law minister, and he was waiting the CBI report before it was produced before the Supreme Court of India. Such used to be the interference. And tell me one instance where either ED has filed a case or the CBI has filed a case or NIA investigation where you can say that we have acted with political vendetta. There is politics. Tell me one instance, not even one. ED cases are there. Certain things have been found out.
Okay, I will give you a counter. I am not saying. Okay, Mr. Sudesh Verma, firstly, we've had a series of discussions and we continue to, because I agree with you. Pendency of cases in the country on an overall basis is a big issue, and that needs to be discussed. Tonight we focus on this because your party's leader Ashwini Upadhyay went to court seeking fast tracking of cases against elected assembly or parliament members. It's his plea. In the light of that, the conversation I'm trying to have tonight is how often politics and political vendetta further adds burden to an already struggling system. That's the point we're trying to make. Now, you're saying that your party doesn't file cases for political vendetta. But does your party reignite cases, remember cases, reignite cases? 1 minute, please. Yes, you made the Narayan Rane point. I take your point. For multiple cases filed by various police departments, what else is it if it's not harassment? Fine, granted. Similarly, Sudesh Verma, what happens when you only remember cases against all NCP leaders right up to Mr. Pawar only before elections? What happens when you remember cases against Mayawati before and after elections? If you're so interested in providing justice, what has happened to the case with Chidambaram? What has happened to the case with Robert Vadra? Where are those cases? Why do the ED CBI officials only wake up with charge sheets, with summons, with questioning when it is politically suitable? Tell me that.
Tanvi, I'm not holding brief for the CBI or the NIA or any government agency.
They seem to be holding the brief for the government.
But yes, I'm saying with a lot of authority that we are not into the political vendetta game. We don't believe in that. Agencies should operate independently, and if they're doing a sordid trial, they should be held accountable, isn't it? That is, and we are with the Supreme Court on that. A mechanism needs to be found out. What I said, as a common citizen, I'm happy if politicians are given expeditious trial, because a lot of political vendetta cases go on. And Mr. Ashwini Upadhyay filed the case. There is a PIL issue, and this is an issue that people are talking about, isn't it? Why? That is why there is a PIL. But we have to also argue that, are we going to create a separate class? This is democracy where everybody is equal before law. So law has to be expedited, isn't it? The legal system has to,
Okay. Let me also right now say good evening to Dr. Vipul Mudgal, trustee of ADR, joining me right now, director of Common Cause as well. Sanjay Hegde, senior advocate of Supreme Court. But first up, Suleiman, you wanted to make a counterpoint. Go ahead, please.
Very short.
Yeah.
Mr. Satish Verma, I don't know, you have not read your party's manifesto. Is Mr. Modi a feudal lord? You are saying in 2014 manifesto, and see the speeches of Mr. Modi. He has stated in his manifesto that I'll form special courts and the trial of the politicians will be done in 1 year. You are contradicting your own leader and the Prime Minister. Have you forgotten this? Sir, and secondly, in the Supreme Court when this PIL was going on, your party is
I'm saying that there should be expeditious trial for everyone in this country.
No.
Why you want to back the politicians only?
Your leader.
Let a common man on the street also get expeditious trial. He's more worried, as you say, politicians are influential people. The lesser influential people, they should get justice first, isn't it? That is what the judiciary needs to address.
Okay. If that is Sudesh Verma's view, I think Suleiman's highlighted what it is in BJP's party manifesto.
One more point. This is Mr. Modi's promise for formation of special courts. Secondly, about investigation in Malegaon blast case, there was a prosecutor by the name of Rohini Salien. She has given an interview, openly said that I was removed as a prosecutor in an investigation involving Aseem Anand and Sadhvi Pragya, because NIA wants her to go slow on the prosecution because she was doing an honest trial.
Wild allegations, Suleiman sir. Please don't come with such wild allegations. These things don't hold. These don't hold in ground. Don't hold ground in politics. You can make any statement. Please don't do such things. I can cite hundreds of examples. One statement by one official doesn't become the norm.
Okay. Allow me to come in. Here. I think series of cases, and individually, right from Malegaon case to several others, to even the political investigation corruption cases, we've had these debates on whether it's political vendetta or not. Tonight, I think exhaustively, if you look at the overall picture, and that's what we're talking about, you will see that for an already overburdened, almost broken system, this aspect just adds to the problem. Now let's talk about trying and fixing it. Mr. Sanjay Hegde, ML Sharma is here with us. He gave a couple of suggestions on how can we now fix the problem. How do we ensure that the pending cases are properly dealt with, timely dealt with when it comes to MPs and MLAs, without the politics getting into it?
Well, without getting into the politics of things, the real problem is investigations have to be fair, independent, as well as prosecutions have to be equally fair and independent, and they must be outcome-based. What very often happens in India is that you throw a huge net. You have the Bombay blast case, you have some 230 accused. You have any other scam case, you have hundreds and thousands of accused. The point is, are you interested in catching everyone, or are you interested in going after the kingpins and going after them in an effective manner? When you try to rope in everybody, then somebody or the other will go up to an appellate court and say that this was not followed, that was not followed. Please have an independent department of prosecutions, an independent department of justice, if you will, which is charged and which will be judged by outcomes. How many have you prosecuted? How many have you successfully prosecuted? The US follows a system like that. And if a Department of Justice goes after you, then very often the people who are likely to be indicted end up pleading guilty to at least some charges in the hope of avoiding court proceedings and a stiffer sentence. All these people who are added as accused, many of them would be willing to turn state's evidence if they were assured of pardons or of lesser sentences. No, we want to try them all. We want the evidence to go on indefinitely. We want somebody or the other to derail. So we are not really interested in trials which have outcomes of guilty or innocent. That is where the real problem lies. And unless you have people who are charged with finding outcomes and who are judged by that, you will never get an independent system. I think that you should have independent investigators who are supervised and supported by independent prosecutors.
And investigators supported by independent prosecutors. Is that possible, Vipul Mudgal? Is that something that we can actually ask the courts and the government to look at?
No, we must be joking here. I mean, it's an ideal situation, but we must be joking. Listen, it's not just a matter of the courts. What the courts are going to do, what the lawyers are going to say, or what the party spokespeople are going to say. You see, it's a clear case of the political parties not wanting any change in the system. The political party system is such in India that all the time, we have seen this in, as they say, in the last 70 years, they have been slowing down cases when it suits them. They've been expediting cases when it suits them. They put ED and CBI after people. And this government is also doing it. Just take it aside and ask yourself, why are the political parties giving tickets to people who are tainted, who have lots of criminal cases going against them? Why are political parties making them ministers? This has happened in the past. And see this. This happened on 7th of July when there was an expansion of the cabinet. Out of 78 ministers, 43 were new ministers. 33, that is 42%. Of them have criminal cases against them. All types of cases, serious cases and not so serious cases. And 24 of them, which is like 30, 31, 32%, have serious cases. And you want to know what kind of serious cases? Murder cases, attempt to murder cases. There is one gentleman against whom there are 24 serious IPC cases, Another one against him, 21 serious IPC cases. So why are the political parties, if they are so good, they are looking at the outcome, they are looking up to the courts, why are they giving them tickets in the first place and making them ministers? And, obviously, political parties in India are not interested. And what the courts have said, what the amicus curiae has said, and what the petitioner has said in this is absolutely nothing new. They have basically gone back to what different commissions in India have said, what the Law Commission of India 244th report said, what the National Commission for the Review of the Working of the Constitution said as far back as in 2002. Some certain things have been said in 2014. So it is all, the moment we say that it is this government and not that government, we actually, we lose the game. Both of them are equally culpable in this. All political parties are culpable. If this government, the present government, has taken the game further, enhanced it, got more people in more. Well, I mean, you may, everybody can disagree with us, sir. We are not politicians and we are used to it. But the fact is that...
what I will say, Mr. Vipul Mudgal, is you are right. And I think it's a race. It's a race to see who can do more of these cases, file more of these political cases, who can misuse and abuse these agencies more for their purpose, and who learns from the other one faster and then beats them at their game. You're right.
Tanvi, you have done a lot of programs on this.
Yes.
The CBI has been misused in the decades before, in the UPA 1, UPA 2, and it is being misused even today, much more than ever before.
Okay, but Sudesh Sharma has some way of denying this.
Yeah, Tanvi, you see, the issue is that if you want to create a separate yardstick for the BJP, then it's fine. I'm with you. But They are not criminals till it has been proved by court of law. If cases are filed, you know what happens in this country. If you are not aware how the police system works, even after so many cases filed against rival politicians for the simple reason that they oppose someone or they are seen to be strong, if that becomes the new norm, then no person in this country will having a record that doesn't have any case against him, criminal cases.
You are saying
So,
exactly the
yes,
point I've been making all
law
evening,
is-
Mr. Sudesh Sharma.
the
That's
law
exactly
is-
what I'm saying.
The law should be there for everyone. So don't say that 78 out of 78 ministers, so many we have
No,
seen
sir.
that we have not.
Sir, this has been going on in the past and this is
It
going on
shows
even
that-
today.
It shows
Yeah.
that we have fought against our political rivals.
But Neerja
It shows
Chaudhary,
that
Neerja Chaudhary,
fire test. And this is the fire test in this country.
No.
That you have to fight against your political rivals who are goons.
So who's going to stop this? Who's going to stop this filthy kind of politics that just adds more and more burden in the system? Common man is not able to get justice because there are 20,000 more of these cases getting filed. The CBI and ED is more, pressurized to running around these ministers. One day this minister, another day that minister, जिसकी सरकार आ रही है, जा रही है, उसके हिसाब से CBI और ED भाग रहा है नीरजा चौधरी. How will they actually look into legitimate cases?
No, if I would put it in one simple word, the problem lies with the politicians. If there is one category of people who are responsible for the mess we are in on this whole judicial agencies, it is the political class. And it is not the central government alone. State governments, you misuse the power, sometimes even more. But the worrying trend of late has been the misuse of agencies to fix your political opponent. That has increased. And I think it'd be very interesting and instructive if somebody was to do a study on this. What is the solution? The judges getting killed, agency people increasingly coming under pressure. That's not a new story. There was a time, 30 years ago, if there was a rape case or a dowry death case, we would say, please give it to CBI. Let the courts take cognizance of it and give justice. I would hesitate today to give that advice to any victim. It is going down the road of harassment and not justice. Therefore, what is the solution? I don't know, because everything boils down to the intention, motivation of the political class, the party in power, wherever they are. And only public opinion can bring a check to this. When it becomes a popular issue, when it really begins to hurt the ordinary people, and they say enough is enough, and their vote is decided by this, only then will change come. Otherwise, we just go round and round and round. We give good ideas, but very little comes out of it.
Yeah, and I don't know if even for votes, if this matters anymore. Are people still believing in this whole, ED ne chapa mara ya CBI ne case kar diya, hence that should decide where my vote needs to go in the election that's going to be held 2 months from now? I don't know if the politicians only believe that's the way to go about it. But let me ask Mr. ML Sharma. You gave us a few suggestions, Mr. Sharma, on the judicial side of how to fix the problem of pendency of cases and the burden there. What about on the investigation side?
See, I have no brief for the investigating agencies. Indeed, this delay. Now, as far as states are concerned, they can't claim that there's a deficiency of officers and men. In law, even a constable can be conferred the power of investigating officer. The number is very large with them, so there's absolutely no justification.
Okay.
But as far as CBI is concerned, you see, the manner in which cases are being thrusted upon CBI by the constitutional courts, including the Supreme Court, latest example being the incidents that happened in West Bengal in the context of election. Now, CBI was not meant for this. CBI was meant for investigating cases in a selective manner. But then, this is what our system has come to. And I don't see a future where the burden of CBI is going to lessen. And therefore, I have a concrete suggestion. People have not thought of it. And I say this. When I was a CBI 20 years, even the terrorist cases were being investigated by CBI. I investigated Byain Singh assassination case and hijacking case and things like that. Now, fortunately, now the government of India has constituted a separate agency for that, this NIA, and is doing very well. And they are specializing that kind of work. Now, the kind of cases which we call conventional crime, that is non-anti-corruption cases, non-bank fraud cases, for that, Government of India needs to create a separate agency. After spending all my life investigation, I must tell the House, tell you all, tell the audience that the mental makeup and the approach of a murder investigator is totally different from a Kagzi investigator of Prevention of Corruption Act or bank fraud case. They don't gel. One can't investigate the other. And that's why we are facing problems. CBI is facing problems in most of the cases. So therefore, there should be a totally separate agency for this kind of things. That's a practical suggestion. It comes about in 5 years' time, 10 years' time. This will improve not only the quality of investigation. Numbers are important. We talk only about the pendency. But how about the quality of investigation? If a judge has been murdered and if the CBI hangs on to two rickshaw drivers or whatever, which the local police arrested, and they don't find the persons behind that, I'm sure it appears to me that the people behind it, then this investigation, no investigation. Therefore, there has to be specialization. In the present system, CBI, this investigation not possible. Of course, this is in addition to the numbers of investigators being grossly inadequate. So in sum, I say two things. One, create a new agency for investigation of what we call conventional crime, murders and rapes and this and that, because they require different kind of training, different kind of approach and all that. And therefore, in CBI, in my time and now, nobody wants to handle these cases because they're very difficult. Whereas anti-corruption, you issue a notice to a managing director or to a joint secretary and comes running to save his skin. So approach is different. Therefore, training has to be different. Mental make has to be different. Guts of the reed ki haddi of the investigator has to be different. This is one. And second, the number of investigators, inspector level, DYSP level. You see, you have directors, special directors, so many are joint directors. They are not working hands. They are only supervisory. And my view is supervision in criminal investigation means nothing.
Yeah.
You are an investigator or you are nothing. Unless a senior officer adopts this hands-on approach, he is as good as being not there. So these are the suggestions that
okay. A lot of this change, Sanjay Hegde, including what you suggested, can only come if the politicians and the political class, the government is willing. Now, why would they? It will not suit them. Can there be another approach to it? Can the judges, can the courts be stricter, make the agencies, the investigators, the prosecutors more accountable?
Well, I don't see how that is exactly possible. Courts are doing their best. Courts can nudge. Courts cannot manufacture evidence. Courts can only assess evidence. And unless the investigators bring evidence, there's nothing that the courts can do. The courts can monitor the investigation, take status reports, but after the investigators either file a charge sheet or file a B report, then there's nothing further for the courts to do because lest they prejudice the trial. If there is some deliberate obfuscation by the investigating agency, if the investigating agency is dragging its feet, courts can speed them along. Courts may change investigators if there is a biased investigator. These are minor works of supervision, but the courts can't do the actual job of investigation. And for that, as Mr. Sharma said, you may need independent agencies with a culture of their own, a culture which prioritizes successful investigation and clean investigation. That requires a culture change. That's much beyond the courts, maybe beyond the politicians. And secondly, I don't expect politicians to do anything. That's like expecting the turkeys to vote for Thanksgiving or for the bakras to vote for Bakra Eid.
Okay, on that note, I will have to thank everybody for joining me on this conversation. I think what we've managed to do is at least bring out all the nuances of where the problem lies. Many suggestions have come forth. How realistic are they? How can we really implement them is a different thing. A lot of what Emil Sharma or Neeja Chaudhary or Sanjay Hegde or Vipul Mudgal said were actually, is part of our wish list. This is how we would want our investigative and justice delivery system to function. But we are far, far away from anything that can be called a good, healthy delivery system. It's not. What has happened is that an already stretched, overburdened justice delivery system has been further used and abused, especially the investigative agencies, by our politicians. And not one government, not one state, not one party at the center. Everybody. Everybody uses and misuses the CBI, the NIA, the ED for political purposes. If you are one of those who likes to take a grand stand that you don't file cases against your rivals just for political vendetta and that there is genuine merit in the cases, you will still probably be one of those who doesn't follow up on it, who only uses it for harassment purposes, not for actually putting the guilty behind bars. Think about it. If you look at the list of criminal cases against netas, if you look at the list of pending cases against netas, it's endless. Across courts, across probe agencies, how many of them actually have ever ended up behind bars? That tells you the real story. Thank you for joining us.